it's tonight. You're about to have a really good time, and it's sure to make you smile. On the bus, in the car, on the AirPods without wires. Rank it up on the workshop. It's the Ben and Liam podcast. Ben and Liam podcast.
G'day there, podcaster. Liam, very exciting because people always reach out via the Instagram DMs.
Yeah.
Rarely, though, that someone reaches out via the Ben and Liam Gmail that we have set up.
Oh, yeah, no, like never.
We don't really check it very often, so I wouldn't recommend you go to it, but I did happen to peruse
I think it's hooked up to both of our phones, but there's no notifications on for it.
Exactly. So if you send something there, chances are pretty low it's ever going to get seen. But I did see this one from Kyle Giggins. The Gmail, if you want to send an email to it, is benandliaminsta at gmail.com.
No wonder why no one uses it.
And Kyle said, "Hey Ben and Liam, slim chance you guys are going to see this, but I thought I'd send it anyway. Official Castaway checking in 2022, listening to That's Not My Nana episode right now. Just wanted to say, hey, love your work." How long ago was That's Not My Nana?
That's Not My Nana would have been, I'm going to say April 2019.
Really? That was Triple J days.
That's Not My Nana, yeah.
Really?
It was a bullpit thing.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then that was a funny story.
Yeah, so, I'll retell that story at the end of this podcast. Hope you enjoy.
What are those?
What's what, Liam?
What is that on your head? I noticed it this morning, and I tried not to say anything, but you have these things on your glasses. I'm trying to work out what they are. I know you're thinking about doing laser eye surgery at the moment. Is it to do with that? Or?
No, well, look, my fiancée Sam laughed in my face when she saw these, and I thought I'd get a bit more respect at work.
Well, coming into work, I was like, oh, has Ben got hearing aids now, or is there something going on? Like, there's these things like above his ears.
You know what? Taylor Jones, newsreader extraordinaire, I don't think you've actually seen these yet. I'll get your initial thoughts.
Yeah, I can't really see because you got your headphones on.
I'll take my headphones off, and we can all find out what you think, okay?
No.
What I did was I was sick of my glasses falling off my face. So I went online, because they slide around, so I went online and I was Googling, like, things that keep glasses on your face better. And then I found these, like, silicone hooks that go behind the ears. And I thought, that looks pretty good. And it had 2-day delivery, so I bought them over the weekend. I just got them. Check this out.
He's got full silicone hooks sticking onto his glasses that wrap around his
They're not that
face.
noticeable, though, are they?
They're very noticeable.
You can barely see them. Oh, Ben, you've given up already.
That's what it feels like.
At the ripe old age of, 26, 27?
Yeah, it feels like I just couldn't give an F about what anyone else thinks.
Also, what kind of physical activity are you doing that's so intense that you need to strap your glasses to your face?
It's mainly when I'm playing golf and I'm putting and I'm looking down at the ball, they slide down slowly.
Well, look, I'm going to put a photo up in the Ben and Liam Instagram story so people know just how bad these things are. I think the only thing lamer than wearing glasses is having
back
your
on.
silicone glasses.
Can you do a quick test? Just pop your head down.
Oh, yeah, watch this.
Like you can headbang all day.
Well, it'd be good if you go to a sort of heavy metal concert, I don't know, if Metallica come or something.
Actually, why don't we put up a photo on the Ben and Liam Instagram story and we'll do a poll and we can decide whether they're cool or not cool.
Okay, I think
I think you'll be surprised.
I think I know which way that's going to go. The Ben and Liam Instagram story is where you can head if you want to see Ben's weird glasses.
Ben and Liam, it's like dopamine for your ears.
Yesterday, Ben, we were watching the Super Bowl.
First time you and I have ever sat down and watched it.
Well, mainly for the halftime show. To be honest, we didn't really watch much of the game. But the Rams won, which is good because it was in LA, so pretty big for them. And I don't think they win all the time.
Now, look, a lot of people aren't into American football. A lot of people are, but
it's real long, isn't it?
It's I'm starting to understand the game more and more, but I do enjoy watching it for the celebrity spotting in the crowd. There's so many
big names, isn't there?
I've written down a couple. This is just skimming the surface, but you got Matt Damon, you got J-Lo and Ben Affleck. They were dancing to the halftime show. Katy Perry, Orlando Bloom. Australia's very own Rebel Wilson was there. The most followed by far is The Rock. He kind of like opened the Super Bowl. Kanye West was there.
I saw him throwing
with his
down.
kids.
Yeah.
But then it was weird because he was wearing his mask the whole time. Not his like face mask, but he was wearing like a balaclava covering up his whole face.
Yeah.
Cardi B was there. Ryan Reynolds was there with a very old looking Will Ferrell.
Oh, how old did he?
looks
Yeah,
so old.
yeah. You got to look up the photos of Ferrell. He just he's like of that age where he just doesn't really care about
care.
his appearance.
And then also Prince Harry was there, not with Meghan though.
Oh,
Meghan wasn't there. A lot of people were speculating what was going on, but maybe she doesn't like football.
Goodness. Do you think Kanye was sitting there in the halftime show going like, probably could have been involved in this?
Yeah, well, because Jay-Z was also there with Drake.
Yeah, well, they're the notable ones missing, really.
Surely they're watching it going, that could be us. But then again, I think the whole thing was supposed to be like West Coast.
Okay, yeah. The other big thing, of course, is always the ads that play. And it was kind of annoying. In Australia, we sort of had Australian ads, and then there was like a couple of American ones thrown in. But I kind of wanted just all the American
ads, because there is so many iconic ones. So did you know to get an ad on TV during the Super Bowl in Australian dollars cost $9.8 million? That's not to make the ad. That's just to get it on air.
That is nuts.
For one 30-second spot. Couple of ads that were worth noting. You had Doja Cat in the clown car going to Taco Bell.
That was the worst ad I've ever seen. Doja Cat, we play her a little bit on Nova, but it doesn't make any sense. She's basically at a clown school, and then she lifts up her hat and she sees something, and then this song starts playing, and she's driving a car so fast that her clown makeup flies off, and then the doors come off the car, and then she's wearing like this leather bra, and then they're just at Taco Bell, and I think she saw. What she saw under her hat was like a sauce or something. So I was like, what? And they would have spent hundreds of millions on that.
There was also the ad that broke the internet. There was the Coinbase QR code that was like the old DVD logo bouncing around the screen.
And it was just like QR, so people would scan that and then it would send them to the website. And it didn't just crash the
crashed,
website?
yeah. My favourite, though, was Mike Myers. After 20 years, reunited the Austin Powers cast for General Motors. He played Dr. Evil. Check it out.
Ladies and gentlemen, our takeover of General Motors is complete.
Dr. Evil, we can now use GM's Ultium platform to power our whole operation.
Now we can reduce tailpipe emissions.
I'm sorry, am I no longer Dr. Evil? I'm Dr. Good now? I didn't get the meme out.
I love after 20 years, Scotty is still getting ripped. Of course, the main talking point for most people, especially in Australia, was the big halftime show.
It's the one and only Double J. Snoop Dogg.
This is how it opened up. Snoop Dogg looking so cool.
You got lowriders everywhere.
Yeah, there's dancers. And part of me thought, like, incredible. Like, assembling all those icons. 50 Cent's looking a bit thicker these days. It's, like, huge for hip-hop, though. Like, I don't think any hip-hop act has ever done the halftime show. And it was awesome seeing all their biggest hits. I think, for me, Kendrick Lamar stole the show. In another way, though, I was kind of... like, underwhelmed, maybe? I don't know what else I was expecting. Maybe a full NWA reunion equipped with holograms or something. But, like, because it was so censored. And, like, I get dropping swear words because it's daytime TV or whatever. But, like, it was like every second word was like they were missing it. But it was this sort of stuff, like, in this Kendrick Lamar song.
Here we are. Wanna kill a dead in the street for show.
Like, dropping the word popo. Because I think the whole song's about, like, racial injustice and the systematically flawed police force. And obviously there's been a lot of issues over the years, especially in America. And it was literally like the protest anthem.
Are you saying that Kendrick sold out to Pepsi?
Well, I just feel like it's lame that he dropped it for Pepsi.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, I think it would have been more gangster just to sing the song how it was originally intended.
I agree.
Even if they said, you're not allowed to do that.
Yeah,
if they just did it. Whereas it's kind of feels like, well... And we hate Pepsi. They're like, we hate Coca-Cola. Like, you know, I don't know. Yeah, so that kind of annoyed me a little bit. And then, of course, you had Eminem there coming out as well. I love the idea, like, obviously they got a big spread of, like, all their sort of cool songs. I like Eminem, like, he's got a list as long as your arm of all the great songs. And at some point, I would have loved to be in a fly on the wall for this conversation, but he would have been in a boardroom with the label and they would have gone, Marshall, we're gonna need you to do Lose Yourself, okay? It's what the people want. I know you've got a lot of hits, but and you could tell he was a little bit dead inside doing that one because he would hate that song.
Yeah.
Ironically, we wanted to play Still Dre this morning, and our boss said, "You know, Ben and Liam, I think the people would prefer Lose Yourself." He's not American, but
So we can't go against the boss.
it's still a belter of a song, though, to be fair.
All right, enjoy. This is Eminem, Lose Yourself, on Nova, with your mates, Ben and Lee. Good morning, Adelaide.
One moment.
Lose yourself in the music the moment you own it. You better never let it go.
Are you ready to hit the road this summer? Hell yeah. Well, it's time to What If It.
Visit whatif.com to plan and book your accommodation, flights, activities, even car hire.
Plus, select hotels are fully refundable. How good? Booking cancellation windows apply.
What if it's Aussie for travel?
Check government advisories before booking and travelling.
It's 610. Hallelujah, it's 610.
So the extra prize is each morning, Liam and I are going to pick a song. Whoever wins the 610 quiz gets to choose which song is played.
Casey from Angle Park, just for getting on, you're already in the draw to win $50,000. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, let me ask you this. How do you feel about the Killers?
But somebody told me.
A classic band.
Yeah,
Classic
I mean,
band,
just an
yeah.
all-round, everyone likes them. Well, if you win the 610 quiz, I would urge you to pick my song. Go for some Killers this morning.
But if you win the 610 quiz, Casey, you could also pick my song.
I get no doubt.
See, that's a classic.
Yeah, yeah, it is,
Can I
isn't
just
it?
say, Casey, I think the intention is to do this every morning now, and Ben's going to pick Chumbawamba every morning, so
I will not.
you'll have plenty of times to listen to that one.
Casey, if you get one wrong, we do move on. Whoever is left at the end of the quiz gets to pick the winning song.
Okay, the band Dragon has slammed ScoMo for his ukulele cover of their song April Sun in Cuba. What tobacco product is Cuba famous for?
Oh, God.
It's actually an easier question than you think.
Don't
when
think
you...
about it too much.
Cigars?
Yeah.
I'll give you that, yeah.
Cuban cigars, yeah. Okay, Prince Charles' wife, the Duchess of Cornwall, has COVID now. What's her first name?
Oh, it's not Kate.
It ain't Kate.
It's not Kate, no. Any
that-
other guesses?
That would be his daughter-in-law.
Yep.
Any guesses?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh,
sorry,
sorry,
Case. Got to
Casey.
move on. Emma and Ingle Farm. Who's Charles married to?
I'm going to say Camilla.
It is. Okay, the next question. The US suspended its avocado imports from Mexico over a threatening phone call yesterday. Name one dish you can make with avocados.
Guacamole.
Who won the Super Bowl yesterday?
One of the teams that was playing.
Although it is,
I'm not sure.
it is a smart response, we cannot award it with a
We
point.
do have to move on, Emma. But hey, out of
Thank
curiosity,
you.
before we let you go, would you have chosen the Killers or I Get Knocked Down?
The Killers.
Yeah, I would have thought so.
Interesting.
All right, well, let's see what Tim from Mount Barker's going to do. He's got two questions to answer first, though, if he gets to choose. Who won the Super Bowl, man?
The Rams.
It was. Ivan Reitman, the director of Ghostbusters, has sadly passed away, aged 75. Can you finish these lyrics?
Something strange in the neighborhood. Who you gonna call?
Ghostbusters.
Yeah, you got to say it.
You got to give it.
Tim.
Ivan Reitman.
All right, here we
rolling
go.
in his
Yeah.
grave. Give it.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
Pretty
okay.
good, Tim. It's not bad.
Now we get to the pointy end here. Which song are you going to choose? Did you want to choose the Killers
But somebody told me.
or a bit of Chumbawamba?
I get no doubt.
Come on, Tim. Pick my song. You don't need to. You don't need to hear Chumbawamba. You don't need Ben's.
How can you go past Chumbawamba?
Yeah. You love to hear it, Timmy. Thank you very much. This is a Chumbawamba. I Get Knocked Down.
It's Tub Thumping. The name of the song is Tub Thumping.
No one knows that. That's
Get
what
it
we're talking
right.
about.
I get knocked down.
Ben and Liam, it's like dopamine for your ears.
I was so excited when I found out we got to give this away.
All this week, you could be joining us aboard Flight 919. Private flight, epic date with us state, okay? So we're experiencing the ultimate day out on the Eyre Peninsula with us as your personal tour guides. If you would like to come along, it's pretty simple, really. 13 24 10. Give us a buzz. Tell us about the worst date you've ever been on.
This trip is going to make up for that bad date, okay? It's going to be incredible. So we've got private flight. Then we're going to go swimming with sea lions, which I've always wanted to do, and way safer than sharks. And then, I've always wanted to do this too, you get to eat the oysters straight from the ocean.
You could be doing a date redo with us on the Eyre Peninsula. So it's very easy. You just got to call through if you want to come along for this date with us date. If you're tired of bad dates as well, you can try one with our beloved state. Find your perfect match at southaustralia.com/a date with your state. The last time we did this, do you remember that call we got from a woman called Natalie?
Oh, that was the best call. Check it out.
But I met this guy on Tinder and we went to a steakhouse, like where you cook your own steak.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he started telling me that he could do taekwondo. And I was like, oh.
Great start.
Wicked.
Great
And
start.
then we were in the car park and he said, look, I could do taekwondo. You want to see it?
Yes.
I was like, oh, okay, all right. Anyway, I'm reversing out and he's in like the next car park and he's like Jean-Claude Van Damme, like, what?
I still love that call so much.
The worst date you've been on. 13 24 10 is the number. The phone lines are filling up because everyone wants this prize. You can also message us on the Ben and Liam Instagram. If you slide into our DMs, we'll see your story. Hopefully we get some shockers. Leah, tell us about your worst date.
Hi. Yeah, I went to a pub with this guy because he kept bragging, and then he made me pay for everything that I bought, and then he was telling me the whole date how good he is at playing the pokies and how he wins all the time. Convinced me to chuck in, I know, right? And then he convinced me to chuck in $50 to go and put towards the pokies. He did win, right? Give him credit, he did win.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he won like $500 and only gave me $100 out of it.
There you go, darling. You have that, no worries.
Leah, that is a shocking date. That's a strong contender.
It's a very strong contender.
Hang on the line. We have got 3 dates, and from that, we're going to choose the worst date that's coming on the trip for today.
Warren, the first date with your wife, what happened?
Yeah, hi, guys. We're at the cinema, and I was watching everyone go in, and my wife wanted to go to the bathroom, and obviously I didn't want to get a bad seat, so I'm sort of standing there, I thought, I better go in, and what I forgot is I had the ticket, and she was sitting outside, and I was inside, and eventually the usher came up, and he goes, what are you doing? And she goes, I'm waiting for my boyfriend or my partner. And she goes, he goes, what, was a guy, blonde hair? And she goes, yeah. He goes, he's already gone in. So then the usher brings her in, and that sort of didn't go too well for my first date.
Yeah, but then you're married now, so by the sounds of it, it all turned out okay.
Treat him mean, keep him keen, Warren.
Yeah.
I like the way you play.
Warren, I liked your story, but I don't think it was as bad as Leah's.
Yeah,
so
it
far.
wasn't as scarring, and obviously not because you got married after,
Yep.
so it still went well. Merity, what's the worst date you've been on?
Oh, hi, Ben and Liam.
Hello.
The worst date I went on was I was with a guy who proceeded to tell me about all the girls he'd slept with in the past 6 weeks, by their name, their occupation.
Nice.
Yeah, so that was a bit of a red flag.
Yeah, absolutely. Out of interest, how many names did he riddle off for
Yeah,
6 weeks?
6 weeks.
Oh, probably about 4 or 5.
Good numbers. Very good numbers.
All right, Merity, I know I said 3, but I do want to go just one more who snuck on. Jessie, worst date you've been on?
I went on a date with this guy who rocked up to the movies in his high vis. So, thinking he had, these big sweat rings underneath his armpit. And he told me that he'd eaten some salami for lunch and he was just letting off these ripper burps the whole movie, and all I could smell was his roast garlic.
Yeah, I tell you what.
That's a
I mean, you
doozy.
could at least put some deodorant on and change your shirt if you're going for a date. Get out of your work, duds.
For me, it's got to be between Jessie with the salami burps and Leah, who gave the guy the money for the pokes. He won and then only gave her a little bit of it.
They're both bangers.
They're both very
but
strong.
The question is, who is coming aboard Flight 919 to the Eyre Peninsula on this date redo? And you know what? It gets pretty smelly on planes, and we can't have people burping with salami. So I think gonna go Leah.
You're gonna go Leah?
I'm gonna
Oh,
go
really?
Leah
You're
from
gonna go Leah?
Cowandilla.
Oh,
Leah.
Yeah!
Just in case she brought the salami guy. I didn't want him
Oh
on
my
the
God,
flight.
I've never won anything.
Yeah,
That's awesome! Woo!
Leah, pack your
No
bags.
way.
We are going
Serious?
on an epic adventure. Yeah, 100%.
Oh my God, this is awesome. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Hey, when we get there, we'll have a slap on the pokes, yeah? Nah, just kidding. Gamble responsibly.
You give us a pineapple, we'll see if we can work our magic.
Leopod Mencast. Wait, I said that wrong. Ben and Liam Podcast.
What's trending?
Trending all over the internet.
Twitter, Instagram.
Welcome to Facebook.
Morning, guys. Well, as we know, Hamish Blake and Zoe Foster Blake are going to be on Celebrity Gogglebox this year.
Yeah.
So, this is what we were waiting for, though. It's been leaked what they're going to be paid for it.
I remember a couple of weeks ago when you told us they're going to be on the show, we all said they're going to have to pay them a buttload to do that.
Because, and we were saying they offered us at some stage and then they went cold, obviously, because they found out they could get like good people. But I think they were offering us, I think it was 3 packets of dried nuts.
So what are they paying Hamish and Zoe to do Gogglebox?
It's rumoured that they're being paid $500,000.
$500,000.
That's a bit of coin, isn't it?
For sitting there and watching TV.
Yep, you know it. Well, there's a second part of this story. So we've got the payment, and then it's also been said, and this is again just rumoured, that it could be the starting point for a reality TV show based on them. Think like Keeping Up with the Kardashians, but on Hamish and Zoe.
So it'd be Keeping Up with the Blakes.
Yeah, pretty much.
And
in their giant mansion.
And their son Sonny would become like Kim Kardashian in Australia in 15 years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
God, yeah, that's true.
It's interesting.
I hope they don't do that.
Yeah,
That'd be weird.
I for one think maybe a little too much.
And in some royal drama, which we love,
Spicy.
the nickname that Camilla, the Duchess of Cornwall, who, side note, does have COVID, has for Meghan has been revealed. Apparently, Camilla calls Meghan that minx.
Oh,
spicy.
And Megan's nickname for Camilla is the Mole.
We don't know,
but of
maybe.
course, her formal title is Charles's Royal Piece of Side Crumpet, which we've all been through. That is the. I believe that's the term.
The definition for minx. Would you be offended if someone called you a minx if it was?
No, I don't think so.
Well, the first part of it is impudent, cunning, boldly flirtatious, young girl or woman.
I think to us we're like, oh yeah, minx. But I reckon if you're
It's a very
the
British
aristocracy,
term.
you understand what the word means, and you go, I am not flirtatious. And what was the first one?
Impudent.
I am not impudent. And I don't even know what that is.
And now, in case you missed it yesterday, I think we need to talk about that photo of Grace Tame with a giant bong.
Yeah, look, it's kind of sad how the outrage is about this and not what happened to her.
I agree.
And obviously a lot of people are like, oh, she wasn't smiling next to the Prime Minister, but we all know why, right?
Absolutely. And this photo that has surfaced yesterday, it's from her Instagram from 2014. She was 19 at the time. She's 27 now. And yeah, it's kind of caused this uproar of, oh, how dare she do that? And like,
So
you know what?
many old people are going to discredit her now because of that, which is just ridiculous.
And look, what I will say is I'm a big supporter of Grace Tame, and I think what she's doing is amazing. But as far as bongs go, that is a big one. Like if you were going to if you were going to be caught with a photo next to one, that is a chimney stack. That is. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it's longer than my arm.
Blanc, blanc.
Coinky Dinky Tuesday, what happened in your life? Give us a call if you've had a coincidence. For instance, you might have had an Uber driver twice. If you don't make it on, we'll do this bit again.
132410 is the number. If you've had a big coincidence in your life, I'd love to hear about it. I could speak for myself. I know Ben probably won't like it because he doesn't normally like this type of thing.
Yeah, 100%. It's got to be pretty good, I think, for a coincidence to be impressive. Now, putting that aside, I know your coincidence this morning, Liam, and genuinely, it is a big one.
Yeah, this is huge. This guy in the UK has a podcast where he makes a radio play, and he voices it all by himself. It's called Imaginary Advice. I think some people listen to it. So the way he gets the characters is pretty interesting. Basically, on Wikipedia, there's this function where you can click random article and it just pops up with like you can try it next time you're on Wikipedia, and something comes up. So at the start of the episode, he's doing his podcast, thousands of kilometres away. He's clicked a button for a random article, and guess what it's come up with?
Australian radio personality Ben Harvey. He's a radio presenter and comedian. He co-hosts The Breakfast Show on Nova 919 with Liam Stapleton. Grew up in South Australia, left school age 16, worked on a dairy farm. 18 years old, he moved to Adelaide.
The only concern is, what is Liam going to make of not being invited?
I know, when you've got double acts, it's a big thing to break them up.
We're not breaking up.
Just book Ant.
The psychic did say we were breaking up.
55 million articles on Wikipedia. He's clicked random. It's come up with yours.
That's pretty wild.
That is wild. 1 in 55 million. To put that in perspective, the odds of winning Oz Lotto is 1 in 45 million.
Hang on, so I knew this was coming because I knew the coincidence, but does he then go on to put me into the radio play? If I came up?
It's super weird. So then it's like an hour-long podcast.
And then what? He's acting as me.
He like voices you, and he's also narrating. So it's a little bit confusing because it's kind of like a one-man show. Did you want to listen to a little bit of the radio play?
I'd love to. Let's check it out.
Cut to the outdoor seating of a cafe. The cafe is at the summit of Mount Lofty, highest point in Adelaide, 750 metres below me.
Good research.
The city of churches sizzles in the noonday sun. From behind me, oi! The camera swings around to reveal the speaker.
What is the storyline? Am I getting arrested at Mount Lofty?
I don't really know. I must admit, I was kind of lost myself. You can have a little bit more if you want.
What about Liam? Can we bring him in? Sorry, I say. No partners. No, we come as a package. I'll vouch for him. No. This ain't a negotiable deal point, Benjamin. You can't bring Liam. End of.
That's so weird. It's so strange.
Also, if you cared to read your Wikipedia, you would know you were just Ben. You weren't born Benjamin.
Yeah, true.
But
well, look, that is an incredible coincidence. Doesn't have to be as good as that one, but if you have got
people
one,
must be pretty scared this morning. The phone lines are pretty quiet so far.
13 24 10. That is the number. Tell us your unbelievable coincidence for Coinky Dinky Tuesday.
Zoe, what's happened?
Hi, Ben and Liam. I used to live in the UK. I don't know if you can tell that from the accent. But I was on holiday for the first time ever in Australia and in the Daintree, and walking towards me was a girl I used to do athletics with when I was about 15 years old. And it's also from the UK.
You're kidding. On the other side of the world.
On the other side of the world.
Right.
Yep.
Wow.
It's not bad, Zoe.
It's pretty crazy, though.
It's not bad.
It's crazy.
I feel like we're warming up here. Let's see what Sean's got. What's your Coinky Dinky Tuesday?
So I was at the drive-in last night. Cheers for the ticket, by the way.
Hey, no worries. I hope you had a good night.
Oh, I had a lovely night. So I rocked up, and my brother rocked up next to me, and we didn't even know that either of us were going. But he rocked up next to me, and we didn't realise until about 10 minutes into the movie.
Oh, like you were like literally in the cars, like next to each other. And I tell you what, last night we had 630 cars
it was
in the
sold
drive-in.
out.
It was complete sellout, absolutely packed. So the odds of you actually getting right next to each other, you must have been coming in at very similar times. That's a pretty good coinky
That's
dick.
pretty good,
That's
Sean.
a pretty crazy coinky dick.
I like that.
I don't mind that at all. Maria, what's your coincidence?
Hi, Ben and Liam. Well, my brother was demolishing an old bank, and he saw a piece of paper on the floor, picked it up. It was an old cheque that my mum had written 30 years ago.
No.
I know.
Your own mother. And the signature too to prove it.
It even had our old address on there.
That's pretty weird.
That is
Yeah, he
good.
still got it.
Yeah.
That is good. Did he get it framed, Maria?
Kept it somewhere, I don't know, but we didn't believe him until we actually saw the cheque.
Imagine how hard it would be if he cashed it.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah, $6. Nice.
That bit's done. Here's another one.
And very sad, the mainline drive-in, obviously it's closing down in Jepp's Cross, but we sent it off in style last night. It was the movie that you all picked. It won the World Cup of rom-coms, Pretty Woman.
Slippery little suckers.
A lot of fans. There was a woman dressed as Julia.
Yeah, had the long
had
white
the gloves on.
and the
She
red
was
dress.
loving it. I mean, no one else could see because she was in a car, obviously. But we appreciated the hustle. Yeah, there was so many Nova winners there last night. Over 630 cars we crammed in, and there was one car that stood out. How's this? So it's a like a normal car, not like a big car, roof racks, which anyone can get. And this guy had constructed like a wooden bench and tabletop above the car.
The best way to describe it was like a day bed made entirely out of wood. And then I'm assuming, because we saw him driving past us to get in at the gate, but then I'm assuming once you got there, you brought out like some sort of mattress.
Cushions and stuff.
Cushions and pillows and things.
Wild setup. And really going in, especially knowing that you won't be able to use it again in like a week because the drive-in's closing down. But we stopped the car and I got the guy's number. Drew is his name from Mount Barker. Morning, Drew. Did you enjoy the movie?
Yeah, good. How are you guys going?
Yeah, not too bad. So are you a carpenter by trade?
Yeah, I build furniture.
Okay, that makes sense.
That makes sense.
I must admit, I was actually next to you on Main North Road, like coming past like all the car yards and that sort of stuff. And I was like, what the hell has this guy got in his car? And I was like trying to like look whilst driving and I couldn't for the life of me work out what was going on. Do you think you could be pulled over for something like that? Like would the cops stop you?
I hope not.
I suppose you got away with it, didn't you? But I didn't realise until I got to the drive-in, and then Ben and I were at the front door sort of greeting people, and then you came past and I was like, oh, it's a daybed.
Well, Drew, because like Liam said, the drive-in is closing down. We know that, which means you're only going to get one use out of this thing. Are you going to like make it a piece of furniture inside your house? What are you going to do with it now?
Yeah, well, I actually went yesterday and the day before, so had two uses out of it.
Oh, right. Okay.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Still a lot of work for two movies.
It looked like it was a solid bit of How long did it take you to make it?
Oh, probably like 3-4 hours.
That's not too bad.
No, you could have a good business in that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if of course the drive-in wasn't closing down. But what about the people behind you? I was also thinking that, like, did they get annoyed if everyone's like trying to get a view of the movie and then you're like on top of a car in a wooden structure?
I think we were all right. They didn't say anything. So.
You know what though? It was like you were on just a regular car, so it wasn't like there was like vans.
What model of car do you have?
Just a Elantra, so it's probably the same as like just a 4-wheel drive, with the rack.
Well, especially once you're up on the hill as well, and the front or the back of the car's up on the angle, and then you're on top. I feel like you would have been okay.
Yeah, well, Drew,
definitely. Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Glad you enjoyed the movie. It's fun. Like, surprisingly, it wasn't actually the weirdest thing we saw when we were at the gates. There was also a fella who was like, "You guys lining up?" And we're like, "Oh no, we're just
giving out flowers and chocolates."
Giving out flowers, and he's like, "Right, so do I just line up here?" And I was thinking, like, "Dude, where's your car? Like, it's a drive-in."
Yeah.
And then he showed the man his ticket and just walked in with some sombreros. He was just going to the drive-in to watch the movie without a car. Like, I suppose he was just sitting on the gravel somewhere.
We gave him a flower from the flower nook and off he pops.
Yeah.
And some fruit chocks. You're on Nova.
Yes, what a funny story.
Right now we're doing Radio Google. 13 24 10. Give us a buzz. What don't you get? Do you know, I don't get, Ben. I was watching a bit of the Super Bowl yesterday. And I don't really get why they say world champions. Only 10 minutes away before the Rams are world champions. Not really champions of the world, though, are they?
No.
Because, I mean, I know they're the best at their American football, but they're the only country that sort of plays it.
But that's why they do it.
Yeah, but it's like us saying, we're going to be world champions of the Australian rules footy. Like, it's not...
Oh, I agree.
Like, you're the best at that, but you just want a flag.
They also do it with baseball.
The World Series. It's not.
Yeah.
Like, if it's the World Cup and the whole world is involved, it is, or the Olympics, you're a world champion.
Yeah.
Why do they do that?
Because they're arrogant.
Americans.
That is the answer.
It's because they're Americans.
Are arrogant.
Because they're Americans, that is the answer.
And look, Liam, you just did a little Radio Google.
Yeah. It's good to just get it out there if there's something that you don't get. I mean, we had some great calls for this last time.
I don't get why I haven't won the lottery yet. I don't get why we can't just print more money.
Yep.
So, like, people have explained inflation to me, but I don't understand, like, why we can't just print more.
I suppose
everyone can be rich. I don't get it.
Hi, I don't really get how waterfalls work, like how they just keep on going forever.
Good morning. I don't get the iCloud where we save all our photos. Is it going to burst and we're going to get covered with everyone's photos one day?
I don't get, why don't we see baby crows?
I don't get how they get the seeds for seedless watermelon.
Now, if you want the answer to all those questions, we did answer them in last week's podcast. But let's get some more questions right now. 13 24 10. Radio Google, what don't you get, Amelia?
Yes. Okay, this is going to be a good one for you. So my then 6-year-old daughter, who is now 7, said to me, why are things called what they're called? So, why is a tree a tree?
Yeah, and why is a shoe a shoe?
Yeah, and I am
Yes, it's got me. I got nothing.
Well, the thing is, that's hard to answer though, because it depends on, like, a shoe would be called a shoe for a very specific reason. Like someone.
But what is the reason?
Well, I'd have to go through every word in the world.
Yeah,
with
like,
you,
I mean,
Amelia.
it's complex, but I suppose, like, a tree wouldn't have been always called tree. Like, it would have just been called bonk bonk at some point, or like,
Well, no, I would say
it would have been like, it would have been like a grunt.
The origins of most words would come from the Latin word, which would be when the person first named it, like the first scripture of it.
That's it. I mean, there's probably a lot of different,
Yeah.
It's kind of like, Amelia, you need to get those keychains, and it's like, Amelia means fertile and strong, like, and it sort of has like a definition for your name. I suppose if you go back far enough, there would be a reason.
Granted, though, Amelia, I get that's hard for you to answer for your daughter.
It's hard to Google and also hard for us to answer to you. So I suppose the answer is we don't know. Melissa, what don't you get?
I don't get where Christmas beetles go for the rest of the year.
Right. I mean, it is true. Like, when you're a kid and you see them, and you're kind of like, what? Like, where?
Well,
they
I mean,
really
the
do
obvious,
come out for Christmas.
Mel, the obvious answer is, I don't know if it's obvious, but the answer is that they're
very religious.
They lay their eggs, which turn into larvae, in the soil, and then they mature underground, and then come Christmas time, that's when they come out to breed, and that's why you see them, and then they go off and die, and then they repeat that every single year.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, how bears hibernate for the winter. And different animals are different.
Yep.
Some are nocturnal, much like the owl. Amelia, what don't you get?
Hey, Ben and Liam, I don't get how petrol makes the car work.
Right, well, it's because it's sort of, it burns the fuel in like a combustion engine, and then the heat generated from that gets the pistons moving, and then
I've actually.
Yeah, but you just put it in. And
it's funny, Amelia, that you asked that, because I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos on how petrol engines work compared to diesel engines.
His YouTube algorithm is really weird.
I won't bore you with the specifics of petrol and diesel, but essentially, you've got a piston, right? And the petrol goes in there, and that pushes the piston down, and then the spark plug, you know what a spark plug is? The little white thing?
Yeah.
That ignites the petrol, because as the piston comes up, it compresses the petrol and the air together, which makes it highly flammable. The spark plug causes an ignition. That pushes the piston down, which is connected to a thing called a crankshaft, which makes the wheels turn.
Right, yeah. So that doesn't really make it much clearer. But
yeah, well, I mean, was my explanation better? How you know what I'm saying? Basically, the petrol gets hot and there's energy in there.
Combusts. You know what, Amelia? I'll send you a link. I got a good one.
Yeah, no, it's a good, easy 19-minute watch. Fiona, you've got a question?
Yeah, hi, Ben and Liam. I want to know why clouds float.
Why do clouds float, Liam?
Well, of course, we've got to work out what a cloud is first. Do you know what clouds are? Like, what makes up a cloud?
No, not entirely.
It's just like this water vapor, really. So, like, it's like, I think the water droplets and the ice that make up the clouds are too small to be affected by gravity. They're like, it's just not they're not gonna fall down on you.
Yeah.
It's just sort of
So if they're
vapor.
made from water, why does rain fall but clouds don't?
It's a good question, Fiona. Liam, why is that?
I suppose it's when that gets heavier. In layman's terms.
Sometimes we've got good answers, Fiona. Sometimes we don't.
Yeah, don't have much if you push on us. It's a very flimsy answer, but if you push back, it will probably fall over.
Tanya, what don't you get?
Good morning, boys. I don't get, why does instant coffee dissolve but real coffee beans don't?
You know what, Tanya? That's a great question, because I wondered the same thing myself until recently. I bought a coffee machine. So with like barista-made coffee, that's beans, and they grind them up really small, and then they put water through those, and that makes your coffee, yeah? You get that?
Yep.
So then with instant coffee, what they do is a company like Nescafe, for example, they brew giant batches of coffee in a big vat. And then what they do is they freeze that, so they freeze it solid, then they cut it up into little granules, and then what they do is they like vacuum seal that. And then you're putting that into your hot water, and that's dissolving. So basically, your instant coffee isn't actually coffee beans, it's just frozen coffee.
Well, how do they freeze it when it's not at freezing temperature?
Because that's what they do. They freeze it down to -40, and they freeze it, and then they cut it up into granules. That's what you put into your coffee. But so that it doesn't melt, they put it in a vacuum, and that's what
right.
gets rid of all the moisture.
It looks like crumbs.
Yeah.
Like, looks like you get little crumbs, like, rather than the, if you've got a coffee machine, it's like thin powder.
Yeah. You get that now, Tanya?
Yes, I did.
There we go. There you go.
A bit of radio Google.
Yeah, we did a shift at Michelle's Patisserie and the Coffee Hut. Kylie, what don't you get?
Yeah, good morning, guys. I was just wondering, where do all the birds go when the weather's terrible, like in horrific storms?
Where do the birds go in bad weather?
Well, they go back to the CIA headquarters for reprogramming because there's little cameras in them all.
No, Kylie, the answer is they seek shelter like humans do. So if it's super rainy, they'll go in like a log, or they might fly under your pergola.
Or just like in a tree and just have to sort of...
I don't know. I mean, I kind of look for birds because we have heaps of birds around here, and I kind of...
Right, Kylie.
Where are they?
So you reckon there's some sort of bird shelter? Like there's some sort of secret society of birds living underneath us potentially, and they all go there when it's raining?
Yeah, no, unfortunately they either stay in the tree if they can handle it, or if they really can't handle it, they'll go.
37 years I've been looking for these birds in the rain.
I've never once seen a bird in the rain.
I've got all the right gear as well. Scott, what don't you get?
I don't get stamp duty.
You don't get stamp duty?
Stamp duty is that sort of thing where it's just an annoying, another annoying thing that the government have in place.
Yeah, when you one day buy like a house or a car and you get slapped with stamp duty for the first time, I agree, Scott. You go, what is this? What am I paying for right now?
So I think exactly what happened. We just bought a house and 25 grand worth.
Yeah, 25 grand, exactly.
I think it's to cover the legal sort of process of the transaction. You know how there's like so many things involved.
So when you buy a house, you'd have to go through a conveyancer.
Yeah, I remember I learnt about a conveyancer when we were lucky enough to get our first home together, and I was like, I didn't even know that job existed. But that is such a cost just to sign the paperwork over from, okay, it's no longer legally this person's home, now it's this person's.
So that's like it's to cover the legal costs, the back end. But the reason it's called stamp duty is because back in the day, the documents were sealed in an envelope with a
big stamp. But now, Scott, you got to pay 25 grand and it just comes in a boring letter without a stamp. So
where's my stamp?
We held up our end of the bargain, but the government didn't, unfortunately.
Thanks for your question, Scott. Scooter. Good morning, Scooter.
Hey guys, how are you?
Very good. What's your question for Radio Google?
I'm wondering how sailboats, like racing sailboats, can go faster than the wind. Like sometimes they can go more than double the speed of the wind that's pushing them.
Can they though?
Yeah.
I just thought they did. I thought they just went as fast as the wind.
I thought they went as fast as the wind, yeah.
I was watching the, America's Cup and the catamarans that get up on, the hydrofoils.
Yeah.
They can do, double, sometimes 3 times the speed of the wind.
I suppose you're picking up speed though as well, right?
No, but I know what you mean though, Scooter, because how's it going fast? If the wind is what's pushing it, how's it going faster than the wind?
Well, for starters, it'd have to be a super light sort of vessel. I don't know those racing ones if they're using carbon fibre or whatever, but it would have to be so aerodynamic.
Yeah.
But I suppose once it just gets a bit of a wiggle on it, just hoofs. That's all I can give you. And obviously you would have to have the sail at the perfect sort of... It'd have to be perpendicular. It'd have to be catching the wind perfectly. And I'd imagine there's a fair bit of skill involved in that.
Yeah. My favourite thing is Liam trying to explain things that he knows he can't quite explain.
I'm doing my best here, Scooter. I'm doing my best. But maybe that's a question for real Google. I don't know. And that's the end of the Ben and Liam podcast. Earlier we were talking about how we got an email from a fella. What was his name? Terry Giggins?
No, Kyle Giggins.
Kyle Giggins.
Fun name.
Yeah, it is. Do you know about that Goggins guy? Goggins is...
Orange. Daniel Orange.
Different guy. Goggins is the one who, he was this big fat guy, he was a pest control dude, and he just sort of hated his life, and then he just started running one day, and he was running so hard that he's shattered his shins and stuff, and then he's a full Marine now. He's one of those people that's strongest mind in the world and just can push through any pain barrier, and he's a real...
Hang on, rewind. So, hang on, he was a pest controller.
Yeah,
he was an overweight pest controller.
That doesn't really have much to do with the story, to be honest.
Right, okay, but I know that. It's in my brain now. So he's an overweight pest controller.
Yeah.
Wanted to lose weight.
Yeah.
So he just started running.
Just going nuts, yeah.
Every day.
But he was just worked out harder than you could possibly imagine.
And then shattered his shins.
I think so, because he was so big, but he was just running.
Then did he keep training?
Yeah, he just kept training and training
On
and training
broken
and training and
shins.
training. Yeah, he just went crazy.
That can't be good for you.
That's him now, though. He's an absolute...
Oh, so I would never say he was overweight. He's a big boy. He's strong. He's thick.
Yeah. But he's a real, he's on with Rogan and that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
I think I
right.
tried listening once because people are like, you got to get around this guy.
Yeah, wasn't for you.
Yeah, he's a little bit too American and motivational for me. You know what I mean? Like I'm sort of more.
Yep.
Oh yeah, so he was.
You're more
he's
Nike
also that
run-up.
kind of like. If I look like that
yeah.
now, I'd be pretty happy.
Yeah.
That's true. But Goggins, if you're into that sort of stuff.
But
you know
you're
what I'm
going to
talking
tell
about.
us the story about That's Not My Nana.
Oh, That's Not My Nana, yeah. Which is probably one of the best calls we've ever had for
Yeah, I
anything.
think so, yeah.
But yeah, basically, I think we
Dream World, weren't they?
I
or
think
Movie
we
World?
did Where Did You Lose Your Nana or something? We did
Yeah.
Where'd You Lose Your Grandparents or something? And this guy called through. He was saying he was at Dream World and they'd lost their Nana. And
so they told the staff that they couldn't find her.
They couldn't find her.
So they went looking.
And then they came back and went, we found her. And they went, that's not my Nana.
So they had found
some
another
old lady
and taken her from the family she was with.
They've ripped her
Or
away.
she was also a lost Nana.
Yeah.
And they've taken her to this other
The
family and
odds
said,
are
this is your
she's
Nana.
been pulled away and she's going, no, this is my family. And their kids are crying, lining up for the Batman ride, going, no.
Yeah. And starts going, shut up.
And then they've gone, nah, honestly, that's not our Nana. This
Yeah.
is a different Nana. And then, long story short, they ended up finding the Nana swimming around in a
In
ball
the
pit.
ball pit. Such a funny story.
It's like my favourite story
Yeah.
anyone's ever told on the
Yeah.
show. So good.
Hey, make sure you DM us your number and we'll give you a buzz, I should say, tomorrow on the podcast. See ya.
Ben and Liam is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcasts.com.au.